Welcome to On the Record, Updates and Echoes, a podcast by the Pocahontas Record-Democrat. I'm Erin Summers. We're sponsored this month by the Pocahontas County Fair Board. I hope that everyone listening to this and watching this was able to get out and enjoy the fair last week. I really want to give props to the Pocahontas County Fair Board here in the podcast for something that I didn't write about for the paper, but I did kind of see unfold on social media, and then I talked with folks about it last week at the fair. Last week on Monday, the Fair Board posted on their Facebook page that the carnival that they had booked months earlier, Amusement Associates, wouldn't be coming after all. The Fair Board just mentioned circumstances beyond their control. Search online turned up an article from Missouri where officials with another county fair said the carnival folks told them they were closing up shop immediately because they couldn't afford their insurance costs. I get it. Everything costs more. I'm sure these carnivals run on pretty thin margins too. It's been a difficult summer. Gas is expensive. Any fuel is expensive. But it's not great to find out at the last minute that your carnival's not going to show up. But the Fair Board didn't give up. They didn't just sit back and whine about it, I guess. Within a few days, they had found a company to bring inflatables to the fair for 3 days. It's an impressive turnaround in just about 48 hours, and I just really want to give them kudos and thank them for all the work they do putting our fairs together. I don't know if you read the paper last week. I had written in my column how much I wanted people to get out and support the fair. These are really the things that make small town America great, and I hope that you went out and enjoyed it as much as I did. So speaking of the fair, I was at the fair on Wednesday night. Delaney Jansen was selected as the 2026 Fair Queen, and Emma Hertz was crowned the Little Miss at the opening ceremonies. We have photos from the pageants in this week's paper and a gallery online for everyone to order digital photos. We will have full fair coverage in the July 29th paper with our special post-fair section. That's where you'll find results and pictures and all kinds of great stuff. It's a real keepsake, and I hope you look for it. The Pocahontas Area Community School Board set their public hearing to talk about the $5.5 million bond. If you are curious, if you are opposed, if you're open to voting yes, go to this meeting. It will be at 5:30 p.m. August 3rd at the high school. When I lived in Hawaii, people always like to say, no vote, no grumble. And I think around here we might say, if you don't vote, you can't complain. I really think that sort of sentiment should expand to these kinds of public meetings. If you don't go and ask your questions, I don't think you should be able to complain as much about the vote and the results later. So August 3rd, 5:30 p.m. at the high school. Rob Sand brought his message of being a candidate for all Iowans to the Rolfe Community Center Friday afternoon. We'll have what he said in all three papers this week. We also have a few short and interesting court stories. One man was arrested in Pocahontas County when deputies found him outside the house of another man they were looking for. This first man did not have a valid driver's license, so when deputies saw him driving later, they stopped him and they arrested him. They also found the first man they were looking for. He was arrested on a Calhoun County warrant. You can read more details about that in the Record-Democrat. It was not a great week for local sports fans. The Newell-Fonda Mustangs lost to Remsen St. Mary's 4-10. Remsen St. Mary's will be heading to the state tournament, and the Mustangs wrap up their 2026 season. The Pac Indians baseball team made it to the sub-state final in Clarion last week before losing to Roland Story City 0-4. Coaches posting on the Pac Indians Facebook page the next morning pointed out that the team loses just 2 seniors and that game only made us stronger for the future, and we will be back next year. We will also point out, we were doing a little research, Roland Story City had beaten their opponents by 8-10 points in most of their games, and they only beat Pocahontas by 4 runs. So not the outcome we wanted, but certainly the Indians kept it close and were in the game, and we are proud of what they have done this year. We are looking forward to baseball season next year, so that will be pretty exciting.
I've been in 4-H since I was in 4th grade, so 9 years.
The 3 things that come to mind when I think about fair is food, memories, and the animals.
The 3 things that come to my mind when I think about the fair are the bands, the Little Miss, and the memories. My favorite thing about the Pocahontas County Fair is coming and seeing friends and making lots of memories.
I'm excited to show and to hand out ribbons as a fair queen.
I am most excited to show my steer this year. The biggest lesson I've learned throughout my time in the county fair is that it's not always about winning. It's more about the memories and the friendships you make to last forever.
The biggest lesson I've learned is that hard work and dedication always pays off.
4-H has prepared me for my future by teaching me how to problem solve and have good responsibility.
4-H has prepared me for my future by teaching me how to be responsible, how to work hard, and how to have patience. If someone has never been to the fair before, I would encourage them to see all the exhibits here.
If someone had never been to the fair before, I would encourage them to go walk through all of the animal barns. Thank you to everyone who made the Pocahontas County Fair a success this year.
And to all who came.
Up next is the Echoes part of the show. All right, welcome to the Echoes part of the show. This week, we're sitting down with Sandy Rutherford and Cody Peterson. Cody serves on the Pocahontas County Fair Board, and we are going to talk about what came before the Pocahontas County Fair. This is well before any of our time, and honestly, when I came across it a couple years ago, I had not heard about it, but I also did not grow up around here at all, so it was just new to me. But I was just really surprised as I read through this, and the pages that we were looking at are all from the Fonda Times. One is from 1911, one is from 1919, and the other is 1969, I believe. And so it talks about the Big Four Fair, and it was called that. If you hadn't read, if anyone wants to take a guess before I say, there were 4 counties, because Fonda's kind of in that like in the corner of Pocahontas County. So it was Calhoun, Sac, Buena Vista, and Pocahontas County. And it started before there are newspaper archives to find online. So like I could not find the first references to it from, but there was in this article.
That's crazy because we go back a long way.
We go back a long ways. And I think it was this article over here from 69. There was a little comment that I'll get to, but it basically said something at the top, that in 1889, a group of people got together and created an association to create this fair. And then the first year was 1890, and it ends up running until 1948. And it was concurrent with some other fairs, but it was definitely the big one to get started. So let me read a little bit of what I found. The Big Four Fair is for you folks equally with Fonda people, a 1911 article said. Competition is open to all, and all are cordially invited to participate. Equal treatment is assured. So don't worry, we won't hold it against you that you're not from Fonda. It is not intended that this fair shall detract from the success of other fairs, but on the other hand, our activities will be mutually helpful. We cannot have too much fair along the right lines. This fair proposes to be broad in its scope, liberal in its policies, and high in its aims and aspirations. We believe you will be glad if you attend or exhibit at your fair at Fonda. The first object of a county fair is education. It furnishes a place for explication of public and individual achievement and public resources. It exists because of a public demand for such an institution. Its ideas should be set to high moral and industrial standards. Its attitude toward the public should be to educate, to raise ideas and standards to a higher level, to point out natural wealth, emphasize opportunities for increased prosperity. It can do the public good just in proportion to the support which it receives from the public. The good which it can do the individual depends largely upon his support. Cody, do you guys have high ideals for the Pocahontas County Fair? Because that was a lot of very...
I don't know if it'll be quite that in depth, but
I mean, you guys, you want kids to learn, and
yeah.
I feel like that's really what they're saying. They just really used a lot of big words.
They did. They used a lot of big words, and I don't know if you're going to go farther down in the
No, go ahead.
paragraph
I can't
there.
remember if I.
But I did highlight the part. It says the individual who attends or exhibits in a public spirited way at the county fair furnishes an opportunity to study the best results of production and skills, and thereby set new standards towards which he may work, which I hadn't thought about before. But each time that you're like raising the hogs or the cattle or something. You're just trying to get better and better ways to do
Yep.
it,
Yeah, like
so that
yeah,
next time you can win. Or
yeah. You talked
So
about
at
Learn
the
least-
from your
yeah.
mistakes.
yeah, learn from your mistakes, and you said earlier, the other conversation that we had, if you aren't doing things the right way, your cattle's not going to gain weight. You're not going to bring a good product. You actually have to pay attention to what you're doing. Could someone tell my 12-year-old that when he works on his fair projects, because they're a little mediocre sometimes.
Yeah.
We're trying.
That's all right.
It's not unusual either at that age.
Yeah, I guess that was one of those things that I kind of took for granted, that
Yeah.
there is a lot of learning as to how to make everybody bigger and better,
Definitely.
I do think
including the plants.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I was going to say, so where I grew up in northeastern Indiana, my hometown fair is still running. It's called Corn School, and it is the longest running street fair in the state of Indiana. And like I always laugh about the name Corn School, but it was actually like the Purdue Extension would come to my hometown and host a corn school on how to grow better corn. And isn't that kind of what these county fairs were doing, right?
Pretty much, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. I just think I don't know, it's really interesting because now it's so much more like entertainment and production.
yeah, yeah.
So going on, some of the other research that I found was that other communities in the county really struggled to come up with the kind of support that Fonda had for its fair. The Pocahontas Record reported in 1908 about the first meeting of a group of people in June of that year with a plan to formulate a county fair association at this place. They called it a feasible plan, and if our citizens and the farmers tributary to the town take an interest in it, there is no reason why Pocahontas should not be able to hold in the near future, should not be able to in the near future hold a successful fair annually. I don't think they did. I did not find anything that I can remember from them. I'm going to skip ahead in my notes a little bit here just to say that the 4-H Club Fair, which I would imagine is the precursor to our fair now, debuted in the mid 1930s. So 1890 to the 1930s, Fonda was really like setting the stage for fairs. I thought that was really cool. But then, and then I write, so this is about the Pocahontas one. There must have been some kind of insurmountable obstacle, because the next several years of newspapers don't show any signs that that committee made any headway. More than a decade later, the Record republished an article from the Manson newspaper talking about Pocahontas residents and businessmen raising funds, about $16,000, to start up a fair. So again, they're raising money, and they just can't get it going. There's no interest. I think probably a lot of it is, if you have a good one in Fonda, even then, wouldn't it be better to go to the big established fair? They probably had better premiums.
Definitely.
So I thought that was really interesting. And then I wrote that the Big Four Fair, it's founded in 1890, which is really, I think Fonda was founded in 1870. So the town had been around 20 years. It can't have been that big. And it just, I don't know. I just think it's incredible. An 1896 article declared that year's event the greatest exhibition in the history of the association. And by the 1920s, even the Pocahontas newspapers were calling the Fonda Fair the Pocahontas County Fair. Until the 1930s, then the county fair debuts. And then this article from 1969 talks about the demise of the Fonda Fair, which, I mean, a 60-year run is pretty good for something. Like, it's hard to keep up energy for that.
Definitely.
And think of how different Fonda was from 1890 to 1948. It's a very different community.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So August 21st, 1969, the Fonda Times asks residents if they remember the Big Four Fair. And they gave a similar recap to the one I just did. I will point out I did not find that article until today. I did not plagiarize the whole thing. I did much more research, just like they did. The paper explained first that county fairs were growing in popularity. So, and I'm sure they were probably putting them in the county seat, make it easier. It's going to be hard for people from Rolfe to get all the way to Fonda at the time with their livestock and everything. But
that would be a chore,
right,
to move
Especially
your
back in
livestock.
the 30s and 40s.
right,
Yeah.
or the 1910s.
Yeah.
Like they were probably literally just like driving them, not yeah,
Huh.
making them. I didn't think about that until we just started talking about it.
I'm curious how that worked. Right.
So here in 1930, the paper says that the Big Four Fair operated at a deficit despite a good slate of entertainment and events, likely because it rained for 4 days straight. And if everything is dependent on people showing up, they're not making their way to Fonda in the rain. The war years were rough. 1948, after the war, the fair died a quiet death. The sole sensational and entertainment feature of the last few years was a saddle horse show. So, those horse showmen, I guess, really, really liked going to
They're
Fonda.
passionate about it.
They are passionate. That is a very passionate group. And then I wrote that, there are probably people in Fonda who remember it. Obviously, I didn't grow up here, but I thought this was all really interesting, and it's not something that comes up. But this was being held at the time in like August and September. Fonda still does their celebration on Labor Day weekend, and I think it's probably related.
Some tie to it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that is the Big Four Fair. I mean, had you ever heard of that, Cody?
I've not heard of it until you emailed me all this stuff.
Yeah. Did anything else stand out at you that you had noticed, or?
No, not really. I guess it was kind of hard to read.
It was hard to read.
It's so small print and.
Yeah, but I think it's really interesting.
Definitely.
Like, all the things that get forgotten that were like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Sandy, did you find anything else?
Well, down here it's got Rockwell City Fair.
Okay.
That's on the 1911 one. It says the people of Fonda and vicinity are invited to attend the Rockwell City Fair on the above dates. Over $5,000 offered in purses and premiums. Over 125 harnessed horses entered. Watch for entry list races. A.J. Hunter, Secretary.
Huh.
$5,000 is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. I mean, if you could win a $50 premium, you're
Yeah,
doing pretty
definitely.
good. So, yeah. It would be fun. Sometimes I do think it'd be fun to be able to go back in time. I don't want to live in,
No,
150 years ago, but I would love to see one of those fairs and how many people came out and see people. Like, that's your whole entertainment for a week.
There's a lot more people around back then too. I'm sure they're huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The other thing I think that we should point out from 1969 is this ad that has nothing to do with the Fonda Fair, but I've never seen a newspaper ad shaped quite like this, and we will give it to Eric so that he can kind of put it up. But if you can see, it bends. I mean, Vanna White here. It helicopter spray service, and then it goes back across with totally unrelated text right there, and that is so weird and so cool, and like I've never seen something quite so creative.
No, I have never seen anything like that. It feels so weird to have the random text in the ad, but I don't know how else you do it.
But absolutely, you notice it.
Oh, totally.
Definitely.
It stands out. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for talking with me about the Fonda Fair. Thank you again for sponsoring us. Thank you to the Pocahontas County Fair Board. We hope that you enjoyed the fair when you were able to attend a couple weeks ago. And we thank you again for listening.